Okay, we're gonna continue the crab, I guess. Why not A? Why not A? It is the crab. The crab. Yeah, there was discussion on Discord about someone clearly stealing artwork and more or less just putting a filter on top and saying it's their own art, which was horrific, you know. And to this person's profile stated art director, and then 4 images. I think this person that stole a photo, put filter on top, and then calling themselves art director, I think is self-proclaimed art director for their own project. I mean, I'm president over my studio, over my chair, and then I can president Bjorn Hurri. Hey Zelin, Stonic, how's it going? Stonic, yeah, exactly. The only artist in a non-existing company, but nevertheless art director. You know, the skills right there. But I wouldn't pay any attention to people like that. It's important to understand also that people like that exist, and they're bullshit constantly. So it's just best is to just leave it, you know. I mean, fine, granted, there's always people can always make mistakes, but that specific case was just clearly stolen. Hey Miguel, how's it going? Can probably call it. I mean, you can call yourself a unicorn if you want to. Doesn't make it true. Never mind. Let's get going. Let's start this. Hey Zelinatski. Good morning. So I had a look at this, and I was thinking, all right, we need to. Miguel, on the Discord, there was a person who clearly stole someone's photo and ran it through filters. It wasn't anyone on Discord who stole, but it was someone who posted the link about the person who stole, and there was a discussion about it on the Discord. It was just an interesting. It was an interesting point of views being shared. But yeah, that person stealing was clearly stealing, and a very like internet famous original photo. But I think the original photo wasn't an original photo. It is an original illustration from many years ago that someone was inspired by and made it into a real photo. That someone took that photo and ran it through filters and said, "Look what I've done," which, you know, clearly was not theirs. Hey, Fight Milk, how's it going? What up? Oh, look at that. Captain Bouse. Ow! Wolfpack. But the question is, what does the wolf say in French? The wolf doesn't say awoo, right? What does a wolf say in French? Do you? Do you know, sir? In Swedish, it's ila. Il. Boo 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 croissant. How's it going? Anyway, so I was thinking we need some form of like separating colors in this creature design to help segment the shapes. Captain Boss. What? What are you on about? Drugs are good. Drugs are good for you. I kind of like that sense of sickness in those eyes. It does say like that in French. That's pretty cool. In Swedish, it's like this, I guess. Ila. Amir. Good for boss. The boss. Not for you. Don't do drugs, kids. Oh, right, boss. Alright, I get it. Cool. Zeolin. Oh, jeez. That's almost painfully good. Almost so bad it hurts good. That is amazing. Hey AJ Squid, what's up? So how's is anyone is anyone are anyone in the chat um, actively looking for jobs at the moment in the game industry? It would be really interesting to know a little bit how that goes. My only drug over the moment is to sleep less. Yeah, lack of sleep and babies go hand in hand. Iglesias, Miguel. Yeah, I mean, plagiarism doesn't really have gray zones. Uh, it is plagiarism. And the only reason why a lot of people get away with plagiarism is that there's people who can argue against it or for it. But doesn't change the fact that it's plagiarism. It's just, is it accepted or not? I mean, granted, two people can come up with a very similar idea. I have myself been affected by that in my career, where I come up with something and I'm almost about to announce the project, and then I see a project announcing it just slightly ahead of time than when I was supposed to announce it, like private project, and then the uniqueness of that project is lost, you know, because someone else have had the idea. I could have gone, let's say, you know, full speed ahead, said, screw this, is my idea. My idea is better anyways, and then you announce it, but then it would always be like, okay, because people usually don't understand when there's a project that looks the same rather than a piece of work. Take the example of a project that looks the same and they're released about the same time. And if it's like 2 months in between or 3 months, or they're released in the same year and they're like, oh, it's the same plagiarism, boo. But what they haven't realized is that they've spent years making that game, right? And it's just extremely unfortunate that they have had very similar ideas, which in itself is, what is an idea ever unique? Dear Bard, oh really? Why? How come they stopped communicating with you? That sounds really unfortunate. I mean, I do love your style there, Bard, when you do it a little bit more elaborate and storybook wise. It's really, really intriguing. What is happening with that back leg? I think I've lost myself a little bit here. What are you doing? Tangent Town. I really love your style there, Bard. Like I said, when you do the more illustrative, like with the fiddly frames and details. 5-0 parallel thinking. Yeah, I mean, it's extremely unfortunate, and it's happened a lot of times. And then you could argue, like, oh, who's first, who had the idea first, and who's plagiarizing the other. But the fact that is that a lot of people come up with similar ideas. That's why there are a lot of generic things, because a lot of people come up with the same idea and then they stop being unique, and then with poor execution even worsens the quality of the idea, right? Amir, you're moving to California? Oh, that's pretty cool, man. Congrats to that adventure. Captain Boss, yeah. Did they really invent fire then, There, Bart. That's a shame that you didn't hear more from the game. I mean, you could always send another email and go, hey, how's it going? I'm still interested in helping you out. Like if it's a price thing, we can, depends on what you want. Hey, Fuxia, how's it going? Atsuki. Or aliens. Hey, White Math, how's it going? What's up? Amir, that's absolutely amazing. You have to let us know how it goes. Up to date. You could do a week, like Friday, the one Amir update. Morse code, here we go. Amir is letting us know. You can even come, you can take the mic. Come take the mic and start talking. I'll just draw, you'll talk about the week. How California is awesome. No more rockets? Wait. Confused. Are you gonna work for some big company already that's already set up, or are you gonna freelance in California? What's the deal? What's the deal? California. Oh, right. You live in Israel, right? Or Jerusalem? Where did you live? Tel Aviv? Was that where you lived? My mind. It escapes my mind. But it's really cool. I'm really happy to see people succeeding that are joined the struggle of getting somewhere. A lot of you have started at similar places, and I love seeing with time, with these streams, one after the other is fulfilling their mission. You know, you're next to Tel Aviv. All right, cool. And it's really, it is such an evident thing that with hard work, luck, timing, you can really do things. But you can also get shit rolls. But that doesn't exclude you from the possibilities. It just makes things harder, you know. Dear Bard. Yeah, I needed something to dictate the rhythm of the pieces, because otherwise a lot of people design flat designs, really that is hard to read or gets too noisy. So for me, I always like to try to find the best solution for shape versus value versus colors. You know, you could easily go all silhouette that helps separate, right? You need a good silhouette, but it shouldn't, you know, reach, like, let's say from 0 to 100. It shouldn't be at 100 silhouette and then 100 color and then 100 contrast. It has to have a balance. For me, at least, it has to have a range, because you can alter that range depending on character and let's say, lack of a better word, rank of the character. So you can ramp up the scale. But if all things are up to 100, you have nowhere to move, you know. But that's cool, Amir. That's great. You haven't answered though if you're going to work for a company in California or freelance. Tell us your secrets. No. It's one of the pleasures I have from doing this stream. I didn't finish the sentence about seeing people succeeding. I love it. You're going to be looking for a company. That's cool, man. That's cool. I mean, there's a lot of companies around that area, so. You're bound to find something. It's all about timing and opportunity. And you'll define it. I can feel it. I can feel it in my bones. I didn't really have a topic to talk about today, by the way. Hence the high amount of bullshit. I usually try to come up with something to discuss, but not today. I'm tired. I'm too tired. I'd love to have something interesting with these claws. I feel just having them like stabby stuff is a bit boring. Ritash, no, I didn't. My daughter recently got diagnosed with epilepsy, and it's very stressful, and I sleep next to her to monitor if she has a seizure at night, because she stops breathing. So it makes you not sleep. Really, no. What I did was the idea is that I split them so they are like sheaths of rock. You know, these what are they called? Sand rock. They are always in layers, like clear layering. So the idea is that they can expand them like fingers, so they can grab and then they can slap them together to points. So that's the idea. That's what I did. Like, what's this? To make them a little bit more unique. So I'm gonna have to show it somewhere. Like that, you see? And they can open to grab. Rita, she has autism, so she can't do yoga. Not as in like she doesn't have the capacity to do it. Mental. Dear Bart, yeah. No, it's okay. You don't need to say anything. It is what it is, right? It's just that I just explained why I'm tired today. she didn't sleep well. And if she doesn't sleep well, I wake up a lot to see, not to sound too horrible, but if she's alive or not. Which is always a fun thing to wake up to check on your own kid. I've been watching this Swedish TV show that's for me like one of Sweden's best TV shows. And the main theme of that TV show, that song sticks in your mind instantly. And I keep just repeating that song. Both. Oh, well, thank you. Zelin, yeah, it's not nice. It's not nice, that's for sure. I wonder how to design these claws, like in a cool, understandable way. Yeah, that's pretty cool when they crystallize, like, or fragment looks like a diamond of sorts. The chances are they're going to be too much like claws, obviously. But I kind of like it. Hey, Stigias, how's it going? What's up, Stigias? Oh, I have to say something interesting. I got a random Stigias, you missed 25 minutes, but today has not been any like fascinating topic of discussion. Mostly just hanging out. Welcome. Yeah, anyways, what I was saying, I got a random message from an old friend of mine who contacted me and said, "Hey, we should make a game together." I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Yeah. We need to. We'll bankroll your next game. We need more games from you." And I was like, "Okay, all right. I'm cool with that." Just a random like, here, take a boatload of money, make a game message. I mean, I don't mind it. I mean, that can happen any day. All day, please. Thank you. So that's pretty cool. Someone randomly approaching you and saying, "Here, take a lot of money and make a game." So I'm gonna make a game this year. I'm gonna try soon to get that going. But I'm a little bit in a dilemma because when it rains, it pours, right? And at the same time, when I got that money message, or a friend request to make a game together, I also got email from a client that I haven't really worked with, like a one-to-one. I've always worked with them through a proxy. But this client is a big client. Came like, we're gonna do a different style, and we think you would be perfect fit for this. Do you want to work together? And I was like, I have this cake. I have this cake. Which cake? Which cake should I start eating? Can I eat both? Ritash, no, I don't do programming. I mean, I know how to, but I can't do it. I don't want to do it. What kind of genre is it gonna be? I think the first game I want to do with a team is a smaller game. Uh, so the idea is make a smaller game, get to know each other professionally, right? Kind of get the ball rolling in the way that it needs to be rolling, and if that game sells well, we'll make another small game, and when that ball is rolling, my plan, my idea is with this team, right, that we'll ramp up the game. To first of all bankroll the project with the sales of the previous iteration, right? So in that way, you have income while you're working on the next. Because if you only lean on like the sponsoring money, you put all this weight on one point. So the idea is, let's say I haven't talked about money at all about this, but let's say we have 100,000, right? You could go 100,000 deep into one project, and maybe you reach the cap point of that 100,000, but the game is not finished because you're not. In Swedish, you say you're not warm in your clothes yet. You haven't got used to the role. You haven't, worked with the team properly, and then there's so much weight on that singular project when and if it's finished for the sales to be good in order for you to be able to do something else. So my idea is even with, let's say, 100,000, you spend 10 on one, and then you spend 10 on one, then you have 80 left, and maybe you do 20, and then you have like 60 left, and then you can go all in with 60, because at that point, in theory, you should be 1 year into making games together. In theory, professional time, not clockwise a year, but project wise. And then you should really be familiar with what works and doesn't work, the engine you've chosen, code base, all these things. But yeah, the genre, I have a couple of smaller like phone games or PC games that are quite simple in mind, but fun, I think. Like cute little instances that would mostly do best on iOS or Android. But they can sell moderately well, and they go moderately fast to do. Miguel, yeah, curse of success. I have all these things to do and no time to do it. So I'm at a crossroad. But I want to do games more than working for this big client. So I need to ask my wife. Man, there's this tangent back there with the legs. I'm fucking. Fight milk, yeah. It is pretty decent problem to have. Just testing a thing. That's what I was thinking. It's rather flat values. Could have boosted a bit. Y for dice. Yeah. Both, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, so I feel we shouldn't continue on this tomorrow. Maybe. What do you think if I go back to Blender? Should I go back to Blender tomorrow? Or do another painting character for the IP? Blender. All right. All right. More designs. Oh no. There, bird. All right, we'll see. We will see. I don't like that back foot. It annoys me. It needs more of asymmetrical, not even. It needs to feel a little bit more organic and less constructed. Constructed is always too, like, it's very symmetrical. Humans like symmetry. And by having it a little bit more random, going to come across as a little bit more like crystallized, I guess. More banana bikes, eggplant bikes, peach bikes. Maybe. No. Anyways, let's find someone to raid. Enough with this. Enough with this madness. Tofu Senshi is making a pretty cool face. Let's raid her. Make a game with bike. Captain Balls, yeah. Have a great one. Let's do the outro. Good night. If you're that part of the world, have a great day. If you're in this, I'm gonna have to do some work and sleep at some point. Bye. Outro, then raid. Tools.